Hey guys, and welcome back to Twilight Princess. Today's part will primarily involve us getting our human form back and making our way to the first temple, but to start with, we're going to have to slog through the first of the Lightbook quests. I wish I had a better term for them, but really it's just filler to make sure you don't progress too quickly, and sadly the Zelda franchise is kind of rife with stuff like this. I believe, Mexi, it's time for the list.
I have the list. So, to start, in Oracle of Ages, before you can enter the 6th dungeon, you have to complete a trade sequence as well as complete 4 Goron mini-games to get not 1, but 2 keys to open the Mermaid Cave.
That's the Goron dancing sequence, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh, Helldragon bitches about that all the time, and rightfully so. It is... Oh, continue, please continue.
Next is perhaps the most infamous, and honestly the one that reminds me the most about this bug catching sequence is the Triforce hunting sequence at the end of Wind Waker.
Lord have mercy.
Do I even really need to explain how bad it is?
I think in the Japanese version it was actually worse than the version we got, because apparently you had to find charts that would lead you to charts that would lead you to shards.
Exactly. That's why I kind of don't get why English players bitch about the Triforce quest when we actually got a toned down version, and even that needed to be further toned down in Wind Waker HD. So at least Nintendo is catching on that the padding is not good, and that the more streamlined you can make the games, the better.
Yeah, continue, mate.
The padding just doesn't end. Minish Cap, not as bad, but in 3 separate areas you do need to fuse a bunch of golden keystones just to progress.
Oh, yeah.
And then another really bad one is in Phantom Hourglass, where you have to not only descend the Temple of the Ocean King, but do it several times over, going deeper and deeper.
If I might interject, I will cut that a bit of slack, because while I do heavily dislike it, and I much prefer Spirit Tracks overall, you could at least create shortcuts through the Temple of the Ocean King, and you can do, I think, the same in the Spirit Tower in the second go.
Yeah, Spirit Tower, you actually get checkpoints for certain floors, so you never have to go through the same floors you went to before. You can start at fresh new floors. And then there's one more that, I don't know, it kind of depends. I don't see it as filler as I did it along the main quest. In Link's Awakening, you have to do the trade sequence in order to get the magnifying glass, which lets you read a book found in the library that gives you the answer to the puzzle in the final dungeon. That can be seen as filler and padding, because if you didn't do the trade quest, you'll get to the final dungeon and be like, well shit, now I gotta go back and do this huge trade sequence. But if you're smart enough to do the sequence in conjunction with the main quest, they line up pretty well, so you complete the quest just in time to get into the final dungeon.
Yeah, I do bits and pieces throughout the game. I believe this is where we come to the point of contention, because what is filler? How do you define filler? Because if you enjoy it, is it filler at all? And, you know, with Link's Awakening, it's one of my favourite Zelda games, and I actually enjoy trading sequences.
Exactly, it's a huge conundrum of what is padding. I mean, most people will be like, oh, it's when I'm bored. Yeah, but stuff that gets you bored and stuff that makes me bored are 2 completely things, and we all have different thresholds of pain.
Yeah, I would define it as, like, either padding or something that's like an arbitrary obstacle.
Yeah. But we're in the Twilight Princess one where we have to get these shadow insects, as they're called, but most people call them light bugs, since they are the thieves of the spirit's light.
You know, it's ironic, in Pokemon, the bug type is super effective against dark. Just thought I'd throw it out there.
And Tom has confirmed that we're getting light types in the Ruby Sapphire remakes.
I remember when everyone thought the fairy type was going to be like light or music or DNA.
I never got the music thing. Never!
Oh well. I kind of like this. We're going back through like the same area, but obviously since we can't touch the, I don't know, poison sleep gas, we have to bop over the treetops using Wolflink's wolfy prowess.
A lot of people, their main complaint about this, other than obviously having to hunt bugs, is the fact that we're in the same area we were just in not too long ago. But the thing is that it's not that bad. Ocarina of Time did the exact goddamn thing, but they did it with all of Hyrule, and nothing changed there. At least in Twilight Princess, we had the benefit of getting to traverse the geography in different ways.
Like, for example, was it the forest meadow where the moblins appear?
Yeah, the Sacred Forest Meadow.
That's the exact same layout. You go through it in the exact same way, but you just do it in a more stealthy manner, really.
It would have been better if, in this case, more platform. There's stealth, but does that really count?
Now, we're coming to the end of this surprisingly short sequence. It honestly felt longer while I was playing it, but then I guess you could say that about a lot of things in video games. How did you feel about this particular quest the first time you played through the game?
The main issue for me is that there's really no way to speed it up. There's so many mechanics put in place that it's almost forced to move at a very slow pace. The first one being that when you kill a shadow insect, you can't just move on to the next one. You actually have to wait for the teardrop to physically come in contact with you in order to get credit for the bug kill and move on. So many times I would kill the insect and just run. And then realize, oh, wait, I didn't get the light. Let me go back.
Oh, I've been there, mate. And that's kind of like arbitrary reasoning for not being able to pick up something straight away. Just let me get it and move on. It may be something to do with processing power, I don't know, but it kind of irks me.
Another issue I have is that the insects can fly. And this once again goes back to the fact that I don't like that Wolf Link has to fight so many aerial enemies. So it's not just you find the insect and you quickly kill it. Sometimes you have to wait for the insect to lower itself into your range. And then, once you kill it, you have to wait again for the teardrop. So it's not so much the quest in and of itself, but there's a lot within the quest that's very slow and tedious.
Well, I suppose I could extend that to my distaste of, again, Pokemon Generation 4 as a whole. Like, the story and whatnot, the mechanics aren't that bad. It's just the glacial pace of the game that really bogs it down.
Yeah, Platinum fixes it. A lot of people don't realize how much Platinum fixes. When I tell people that it's almost an entirely different game, they're like, yeah, Emerald was different too. But no, Platinum is perhaps the biggest gap in change from the previous two versions. So please, just give Platinum a try. And then, of course, you have Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Of course, well, I was watching Twitch players Pokemon Platinum and surprisingly found myself enjoying that. But, we've already got a Pokemon playthrough ongoing, so let's get back to this. Wouldn't you know it, the guardian spirit of a place filled with monkeys is himself a monkey.
A monkey actually is in a shape similar to the Kokiri symbol in Ocarina of Time.
I wish you hadn't told me that when we were offline chatting about the episode, because I'm not able to successfully replicate that very shocked noise that came out of my mouth.
You could try.
What?
Close enough.
It was nothing like that. So, what do we think about Faron?
I like that it's a monkey, for obvious reasons. I like that he has this total beast mode scorpion tail.
Ooh, yeah.
The only thing that irks me is his face. It's a human face, and it tries to have some lip movement or something, and it's really uncanny.
Yeah, well, the whole game's kind of uncanny valley with the Twilight aspect, but it doesn't really sit right here.
There is an issue I have with Faron, though, is that most of his dialogue is just repeating what Ordana just said. Like, I understand, repeating matters to sort of give gravity to the situation. Like, if everyone's telling you shit is bad, then shit's probably bad. But do we really need another light spirit with just as slow of text letting us know the exact same shit?
Well, at least we get this time. We finally have our hero garb.
Finally, and I love how contrived it is that we got it. It's not part of a tradition, it's not our natural clothes, it's literally just a spirit saying, hey, you want to be the hero now? Well, here's some hero clothes.
It's like, I'm not wearing the same clothes as my ancestors, that's not how it works.
Shh! That's a spoiler!
This is the first instance of the chainmail, isn't it?
Yeah, because it was always so awkward in previous games that tights seemed to be strong enough to protect Link from fire, magic, drowning.
Pretty much everything, really. Poison gas, mystical gas.
It's even worse for Child Link because he's not even wearing pants.
Okay, let's not go down that road.
Whoa, temples? There are temples in this game?
I was gonna say, we're 5 parts in there, and I have, well, what's the word I'm looking for here? I've been very generous with the time of these parts. I ain't doing no 10 minute to maximise ad revenue bullshit that certain YouTubers do, okay? We're taking this at our own glacial pace.
But yeah, it takes forever to get to the first dungeon. I mean, the Ocarina of Time playthrough, we were in the first dungeon in part 2. Legend of Zelda, by the first part, we had already done a third of the dungeons. Part 5! And we're still not there!
Yeah, Twilight Princess is probably one of the longer Zelda games in the franchise, and it's probably going to be our Kingdom Hearts 2, I won't lie, but don't worry, there will be no very long hiatus during the middle of it, I assure you.
I can't wait 9 months for a part, Tom. It's just not in me.
Yeah, a child will be born in the time it takes us to beat Twilight Princess, and its name will be Link. Yep, that's a hand. Still a hand.
Link just doesn't know what to do with himself now that he's the hero. It's like, wait, do I eat the darkness? Do I step on it? What do you want from me?
I would love, like, if he didn't know how to walk for a split second, like he went back to being a quadruped.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Or, it really should have been something they did throughout the game where as you change from either wolf to human or human back, if the first couple of steps he stumbled or like he couldn't reach maximum speed right away because, you know, he's not used to walking in that form or fashion.
And that's where Sakurai got the inspiration for tripping from. See, look at that shit in the background. I said this was one of my favourite spots in the game, at least aesthetically, and it looks gorgeous, even with all this pale bloom and whatnot.
It's mostly the water, isn't it?
Yep, GameCube era water. And look at this shit. Wii version exclusive, baby. You can swing the Wii remote while you run and chop grass at speed.
It's so much fun. But I'm still Team GameCube, Tom.
Any reason why?
It's the version I've played the most of, and I don't know, just the aspect ratio and some of the controls. I really love quantitative movement.
The first time I played the GameCube version was on the Dolphin emulator, and my computer ain't fast enough to run it properly, so half of the music was missing. There was a lot of slowdown, and it was a very clunky experience overall, honestly.
Dolphin is actually pretty good if you have the right computer, but who on earth has one of those?
I feel really sorry for this guy. Not only did we get off with not paying him for the lantern, why he's giving out lanterns for free. Obviously, they would cost more than a simple, oil that you can find lying around. But then he gets accosted by light bugs, and we still don't buy any lamp oil from him. How is he making profit?
I never really got whether people in the light world could see the bugs. Because there's some characters in the game that say that Zant made the light bugs, and that they can't be seen. Like, that's their whole purpose. Yet, previously in the part, he was scared of the light bugs in his shack. So, is it that they see the effect, or they see something related to the light bugs, but not them themselves? I'm very confused, and this game gives me so many mixed messages about so many things.
I think they can, sense it, and they can see, the energy form around the bugs, but not their physical forms.
That would make sense.
Alright, let's whip out the lantern. I wish there was more of this, exploring dark caves that you needed the lantern for. I got that vibe from, some of the beta screenshots, particularly one featuring Link and a couple of keys, but didn't really come to it.
The beta Twilight Princess had so many things that differ from the final release. A lot of character designs. Even whole areas just look like their design was completely changed.
Yeah, Faron Woods, for example, featured this, really spindly, demonic-looking creature that Link beat the shit out of.
We need more demonic creatures in Zelda.
Actually, that one area reminds me of an area in Shadow of the Colossus, which I bring up pretty much every time I reference that game.
Man, referencing Shadow of the Colossus and Twilight Princess. Man, Tom, you're so edgy with your video game comparisons.
Well, just going back to that comparison, there's this one bit where Link's riding Epona across a barren wasteland, and it looks kind of like the land in Shadow of the Colossus.
I did not see that. My mind is blown.
Right, explain a little bit about this sequence, mate.
Well, I guess since the Faron Woods have been engulfed in Twilight, the fog settled, which I think is kind of cool because it sort of shows that there's a lingering effect between the both worlds on each other. So rather than just running straight through, the fog is dissipated by light. So the monkey stole our lantern, put it on a stick, and sort of slows down our progress to getting to the dungeon, and instead we just gotta walk around in the least straightforward path through the swamp to get to the next area.
Is this another case of arbitrary padding?
This, definitely. Like, a lot of people can argue that padding is just the gameplay. I know a lot of people will say that with Skyward Sword examples, but this isn't the gameplay. This has nothing to do with any of the core focuses of Twilight Princess gameplay design, and is just slowing down our progress to get from point A to point B.
Back during the Zelda-thon, I watched, I co-commentated rather, with Axel Ryman on Link's crossbow training, which is appropriate since obviously it's based on Twilight Princess, and this area of Faron Woods in particular plays host to, I think it's like an arena match where you fight off spiders and whatnot.
I don't remember much of crossbow. I know that watching Axel Ryman do it, I was surprised that the gameplay varies enough. I really thought that it was just like a gun trainer video game. It's like, oh, shoot all the targets. Now shoot all the bouncing targets. Now shoot the red but not the blue. But there were actually, there was a lot to that game than I originally thought.
It looks pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Never write off spin-offs, you know, for being lesser than main entries in the series. If that was the case, I never would have played stuff like, again, I gotta go back to Pokemon, Snap, Training Card Game, Pokepark. That last one in particular is a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah, it's one of those vices I really need to get checked for myself, that I really need to ignore spin-offs when they tend to be gems.
And of course, Link's like, oh, I can't believe this shit. She emptied the lantern completely.
Even the text is like, what the deal, brah? I always like when the standard text can have a sense of humor.
Yeah, a little bit of sarkiness.
Yeah, even if it's not directly coming from a character, it's almost like the world in and of itself has a sense of humor.
That's mostly going to be my main combo in this game. Quick strike, spin attack.
That's everyone's main combo. This isn't Wind Waker, brah. You can't be intricate and do flippy tricks.
Yep. Okay, I think it's time to show off a nifty little trick.
First you get your bottle. Oh no, you're just gonna get it through the lantern. That's cool.
Yep. Dan, do you want to explain how this works?
It's totally a reference to Back to Link's Awakening. In that game, you could steal items by sneaking behind the shopkeep. Unfortunately, if you go back, you're gonna get laser-faced. But in this, you can just walk right out of the shop with either the oil or the potion, and the bird will warn you. But once again, if you just walk out without paying, congratulations, you're a thief. But if you walk back, he'll peck you to death.
Well, I also got it for a much cheaper price, so something to keep in mind if you're running low on rupees.
Yeah, he's still pretty ticked off if you don't pay the full price for the item.
Are we dead?
I hope so. I can't deal with any more light bugs.
Okay, that's new. Well, why couldn't we be the Golden Wolf? I want this guy as my alternate form.
Maybe that'll be the form we get when we pull the Master Sword out of the pedestal and go into the future of the future.
Great. Very graceful, by the way, like 10 out of 10.
Well, he's not used to sword fighting. He's just used to swinging a stick in front of children and having them go, wow, totally radical, dude.
Yeah, and, you know, managing goats and whatnot. Maybe if we rode a pony at him, we'd have had more luck.
Or just have Epona jump all around, squishing his bones.
You know, like the prompt in Wind Waker to do a parry? No, this time you just have Epona riding like a support character.
Epona would win the Steel Ball run, hands down.
I can't really reveal too much about this character yet. It's not a major spoiler, but it's a nice surprise. But he's going to be our combat instructor, and there's been other instances of this in the Zelda franchise. You care to give us a bit of a tidbit, mate?
Let me pull out the other list.
The other list.
Surprisingly, the first introduction of move tutors is actually in the Adventure of Link. You can learn the up thrust and the down thrust from two separate Hyrulean knights, and both of those moves are extremely useful, and thankfully they brought those over to Smash Brothers, as they are my favorite moves to use with Toon Link.
Down and Amo, sucker.
Hell yeah. You also have the 8 Blade Brothers in Minish Cap, which will teach him various different moves, from like a jump slash to the sword beam. There's all kinds of moves that you can get. There's also in the DS games, you have the Swordsman Scrolls. Phantom Hourglass only had one, but Spirit Track had two, and those taught you the Great Spin and the Sword Beam. I mean, the Great Spin has been taught in a lot of games, and I really don't feel like listing it, because it's been taught to you in a lot of games.
I think the one I remember it the most from is Wind Waker, because it becomes very handy on the second Jahala fight.
Yeah, from, was it Orkra?
Yes, Orca.
So, a lot of people would consider him a move tutor too, as you can't really use your sword combat until after he teaches it to you, but it's not like they're a move upgrade, he's just showing you your standard movements.
Okay, so the TLDR version. Seek out the Howling Stones as a wolf, play the tune, then go find the Golden Form to learn a new move. But that's for a future part, so please join us next time in the Twilight Princess playthrough, where we finally get to play through a dungeon. See you then.